Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here for another training. So I just got off a summit recording, which I'm really excited about. I was able to be on this other entrepreneur summit, and we talked a lot about self-trust, and we talked a lot about imposter syndrome. And I know that this is like a hot topic in the entrepreneur world because it doesn't matter like where you are at in your business, they show up for you. And so when we do the work, we heal different blocks and we open up the channels to be paid more. We open up the channels to gain more clients, and it all works in our favor. So as I was being interviewed and as we were talking about it, I'm like, I actually need to bring this to my own audience. And so that is where this training has come from. I have some notes that I want to share that will keep me on point. So if I'm looking over here, you know why. But if you are newer to my world, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And what I do is I help mentor female coaches and female entrepreneurs how to move intuitively in their business and how to move from a place of self-trust so that they can build businesses and lives that they absolutely love, and that they can create a bigger impact, they can create bigger incomes, and they can live in abundance. That is what I love to do. And through all of my training and my experience, that is what I have found to be the most like crucial piece in success and business. So welcome if you're new. I'm so excited to have you here. So when it comes to self-trust, this is something that you need to work on probably throughout your life. Some people are better at it than others, but I want to talk about what lack of self-trust means first, so that we can move into like a process of how you can develop more self-trust. So when you do not trust yourself, you struggle to make decisions, you second guess yourself all the time. A lot of times you're living in imposter syndrome. With imposter syndrome, I like to talk about it like there's 4 P's with imposter syndrome, which is perfectionism, procrastination, project analysis, and people pleasing is usually what's happening with imposter syndrome. And with imposter syndrome, you might hear it in those words, or you might just feel it in your body that you don't feel like you're worthy. You don't feel like this is okay. You don't know what you're doing. You second guess yourself all the time. All of these things are part of imposter syndrome. And so we try to be perfect. We people please. We ask for answers outside of ourselves instead of inside ourselves. We struggle with actually getting the project done because maybe it's not going to be good enough, which also breeds, the whole perfectionism where you're trying to be perfect. And guess what? We never are going to be perfect. So we just need to let go of that. So part of this whole imposter syndrome and lack of self-trust, people pleasing is a huge piece. And people pleasing is something that I think so many women struggle with. And I always call myself a recovering people pleaser because I was taught from a very young age to people please. People pleasing is a learned behavior. It is something that you pick up in your childhood, and it can happen in a couple different ways. And I'm not saying these are the only 2 ways, but these are the majority. It's one or the other. Is you learn at a very young age that when you do something good, you get rewarded for it and people accept you. So you're like, oh, I need to do more of that thing. And you do more of that thing. Another way that it happens, which is unfortunate, and also the way that I latched on, was you get in trouble if you ask for something and you learn to just not really speak your voice. You learn to hang back. You learn to bite your tongue. You don't speak up, but you do say yes to everything. You're like, yes. I was taught to say yes to all of my adults. You don't even question. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's complete self-betrayal. Just say yes. So people pleasing can be something that really holds women back, especially because we always feel like we have to do the most, right? We have to like be the perfect mom, and we have to have this like amazing business that's working. We have to look like we're put together. Our workouts, just add. I know that you can look at your own life and be like, whoa, so you're the homemaker, the mom, the best friend, you are the provider. Like there are so many different things and different hats that we're wearing as women. And we also then want to show up in our community, and people pleasing can be a big thing that happens. And so that is kind of a quick overview of what lack of self-trust is. So the opposite of that, like when you create trust, self-trust, it actually increases your faith in your own ability. And you have someone that breeds a lot of self-trust, has clarity and confidence in themselves and in their decision-making capabilities. And in order to have an amazing amount of self-growth, you got to have self-trust. And I think like that really goes hand in hand. Like if you are wanting to develop to the next level, but you're always second guessing yourself, your growth is going to be limited. And so when you have all of those things, it works out for you. And all those things meaning what we're going to talk about in a minute, how to actually develop more self-trust. So last thing I want to say before we get into these 7 items on how to build self-trust is research shows that when you have self-trust and you're really confident in yourself, you have much better mental health, you are more resilient, and you have more success in all of the areas of your life. And you're able to hit those goals so much better because you actually trust yourself, right? So let's go through the 7 things that are going to breed more self-trust. The first one is embrace who you are. We are all different humans, different walks of life, different journeys, different paths down the road. Like we all are experiencing life differently and we're all unique, but you need to embrace who you are. Stop trying to copy other people. Stop trying to be someone else. Just be who you are and embrace it. And know that there are all different parts of you, right? Some that maybe you love more than others, but embrace all of it. And as you do that, again, it'll breed self-trust. The second thing is hold on to your values. Now, I have an activity where you can go through. If you are not sure, like what your values are, like what are my values? I don't even know. Some people don't know. I was one of those, is like, I don't know what my like true values are, like what I actually live by. And so going through this worksheet is super helpful. So if you want that, you can comment below, just comment below self-values worksheet, and I can send that to you. But holding on to your values and living by your values is going to breed a lot of self-trust because you are not doing something that doesn't feel good to you. You are aligned in your values, and everything you do, all the decisions you make are in correlation with your values. And so you breed more self-trust. And values look differently, are different for different people, right? One value I didn't know that I had that is like a really, really strong value that I super like am proud of now is I am extremely now the word just escaped me. I am extremely committed to those I love. I commit and I am all in. I have their backs. I show up for them. I am super, super committed to the people that are in my circle. And I didn't know that until it was truly tried to the deepest levels. And I was like, whoa, I'm still here. I'm still cheering them on. I am so committed. If you are in my world and if I love you, I am all in on you. It's an amazing quality. I didn't know that I had that until I learned my value system. So number 3, also very important, is keep the promises that you make to yourself and to others. And this truly works in your favor building self-trust, because when you say what, like, this is what I'm going to do, and you actually do it, that self-trust grows. However, the opposite is true. So if you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, that lack of trust is going to increase. Self-betrayal is going to take you farther away from yourself and your authenticity. Self-trust and actually showing up and promising, keeping those promises you make to yourself and others is going to breed it. And this is something that can grow like exponentially pretty quickly when you actually show up. So, example, you've committed to getting up at a certain time in the morning and you actually do it. You've committed to getting a workout in X number of days and you actually do it. You've committed to reading X number of pages and you actually do it. You committed to being on time and you actually do it. Every single time you do it, it breeds more self-trust. Number 4, be accountable to the mistakes you make. I want you to think about someone who owns their mistakes. And every time they're wrong, they're like, you know what? I was really wrong. I'm sorry about that. And they come to you and they tell you that. immediately you have more respect for this person. You're like, yeah, I love that they owned their mistake. We can do the same thing for ourselves. And when we do, the self-respect also increases, which breeds more self-trust. Super important. So own your mistakes. Look at them, say, yeah, it's okay. I made that mistake. And also, I've learned from it. And also, I won't ever do that again. And also, I am sorry. Apologize if you need to apologize to whoever. Mistakes happen. We are human. But when we own them, we claim our power back. When we don't own them and we hide and we cower or we blame, that is going to bring in more negative emotions. It is going to lower our vibration and we are not going to show up authentically, which is not going to breed more self-trust. Super important to just be accountable to the mistakes that you make in your life. Okay, number 5, also love this one. Practice self-compassion and self-forgiveness. I think a lot of times it's really easy to forgive other people for wrongdoings. Sometimes it's not, but a lot of times it is easier to forgive other people than to forgive yourself. But think about that. Why? Why would we not want to forgive ourselves? We are human. Things are going to happen. We're going to make mistakes. And it's also okay. But when we have compassion for ourselves and when we give ourselves grace saying, yeah, well, you're learning, you're growing, you're developing, it is okay. I have your back. It breeds so much more self-trust. By the way, no one is going to have your back the way you will have your own back. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. So if you don't have your own back, you can't expect others to. But when you do, others will, and they will feel that confidence. They will feel that self-love that you have for yourself. So practice it. And it might be a daily practice. It might be something you don't have to do as often, but practice self-compassion and self-forgiveness. Number 6 is build on your strengths. What we're used to hearing is how to work on our weaknesses. Here's the thing about weaknesses. There are weaknesses. We're not good at them. We have amazing, unique qualities. We are all different humans. We all come with a unique set of skills, things that we actually are good at, our strengths. What would happen if you understood what your strengths were and then you expanded those, you grew those, you worked on those? I'm telling that that your success and your reach would go so much faster because you're already good at them. If you don't know what they are, something that you can do that I've done, it's a little bit scary, is put out a like Facebook post or Instagram or whatever. Facebook posts work great. You can even do an email to your closest friends or anyone and ask them what your top strengths are and what your top weaknesses are. And see what they say. You're going to see commonalities. And you're like, oh, I didn't know. Because a lot of times when it comes to strengths, you're so good at it and they come natural to you that it might not feel like work and that might not feel like you're even good at it. But other people are going to see that about you and be like, I love that about her. So if you could put yourself out there, that is the fastest way to see what other people see as your strengths. You'll see the commonalities and be like, oh, okay, I'm actually good at that. How can I expose those greater? How can I maximize those? And when you do that, you're setting yourself up for success so much faster because you're now actually focused on what you're good at. Super important. Okay, number 7 is firm up your decision-making skills. When we actually firm them up, we make a quick decision and we're done. We're just like, this is it, done. And we don't ruminate on our thoughts all the time. We look at all the different cases and we go back and forth. When we just make those decisions and we're just confident in our decisions, it also is going to breed self-trust, but it's going to simplify your life. And by the way, your brain can only hold so much information in a day. And when you're making so many decisions, you wear your capacity and your energy, your brain food out. You wear it out. So what I like to do is I like to simplify my life. And I do this. I'm going to give you some examples, but just know that this is my life. You will have things that are going to work better for you. So do those and your life will look different than mine, right? So for me, even though I know how to eat healthy, I've been a fitness trainer forever. I have nutrition certifications. I have a nutritionist and she sends me my weekly plan. This is what you eat. Now I don't have to think about what I eat. I don't have to think about what I need for grocery shopping. I don't have to really think about any of that, which used to be a huge headache for me. She sends it. I then get online. I look at what I need. I order the food. It gets delivered. My meals are done for the whole week. And when I say my meals, I mean my meals, my husband's meals, and my kids' meals. We all eat this way. Okay, done. I also have someone that cleans my house. Now you might say, well, I can't afford that yet, or I don't have that. For me, that works because I don't like spending the time on that. I like to spend my time creating and being in this space, using mental capacity for this. So I have that done. I know how to run. I have a trainer because I'm trying to qualify for Boston this year. I have a trainer that sends me my weekly plans. I don't have to think about my workouts. I don't have to think how fast I have to go, how slow I have to go, my speed work, all of it's done. Right? Posts, when it comes to business, I have certain posts that are scheduled. So I have creative days where I do a lot of creating, and then I have other days where I don't. Because when I'm in the creative space, create a lot of content that can spread out, then I don't have to keep thinking about it over and over and over every single day. And those are just some examples, but you can look at your life and say, where can I simplify so I don't have to make as many decisions, so that when I do make decisions, I make them, they're clear, they're concise, they're done, and I can move forward. When you do that, your life gets easier. You have more capacity in your brain to be in your creative space, the things you're actually good at, and you breed more self-trust. So let me go through those 7 one more time, just so that you have them. Number 1 is embrace who you are. Number 2 is hold on to your values and live by them. Number 3 is keep your promises to yourself and others. Number 4 is be accountable for your mistakes. Number 5 is practice self-compassion and self-forgiveness. 6 is build on your strengths, and 7 is firm up your decision-making skills. So as you add all of these into your life, you are going to have more self-trust. When you have more self-trust, you are geared up for faster success and more success. You also feel a lot more peaceful within your body because you're not working against yourself. You're actually working with yourself, and you're continually growing into a better version of you. So I hope you loved this training. If you did, make sure you comment below. I always like to give you guys what you need. And also, like, you know, we talk strategy a lot of times, but also this kind of stuff is super, super important. And it's things that you can add right now. So add this into your life. Comment below. If you have other questions, let me know, and I will see you in another training.